Hey everybody, welcome back to C.Dat.Guy Review Movies. My name's Christian, and I know in my last video I said I wouldn't go to the theater to watch any new movies because of lockdown, and I didn't. For Christmas. New Year's, however, is a different story. For this one I had to plan 3 weeks in advance because at the time I learned that both AMC and Cinemark were offering private screenings, and just to be upfront, I'm not sponsored by either of these. AMC's private screenings are $200 for new movies and $100 for old movies for up to 20 people, and Cinemark had the exact same deal except offering new movies for only $150. I also said in my last video that I hope that people were being smart about navigating movies through lockdown, and so I thought I would do the smart thing by making sure that the people I invited were quarantining properly, and then also booking a Cinemark theater so I can save the $50. But then again, I could have done the smart thing by just not spending any money and just watching on HBO Max, but that's less fun for me. And it was a good late Christmas present because it's been a while since any of us were in a movie theater. So, which movie did I use this occasion for? Well, let me put it this way. It's interesting that in 2020 that there are 0 movies in the MCU and 2 movies in the worlds of DC. One of them I watched last year around this time, and the second one I decided to kick off 2021 with because, well, it was supposed to be released in June, but got pushed back to December. So for today, I'll be reviewing Wonder Woman 1984. I'm guessing a majority of you have seen it already, but if you haven't, the story goes like this. It's 1984 and everything looks like it's season 3 of Stranger Things. Diana Prince works at the Smithsonian Museum in Washington, D.C., while still being Wonder Woman covertly on the side. She stops a robbery from happening at a jewelry store at the mall. Barbara Minerva is a new employee at the museum who quickly befriends and envies Diana. It turns out that the jewelry store from earlier was a front for stolen art and artifacts, and the FBI asks them to identify any of the items that were missing. It turns out that one item in particular is revealed to be the Dreamstone, which grants its holder one wish. Diana apparently brings back Steve Trevor from the dead in another man's body, while Barbara gained superpowers when she wished to be more like Diana. Maxwell Lord, a TV personality and businessman, has done some research about the stone and plans to use it to save his failing oil company. He distracts Barbara at a gala party, seals the Dreamstone, and then wishes to become the stone itself so that he can grant anyone's wish. While everything the stone does is seemingly positive at first, they all soon learn that the stone has its price, and it's up to Diana and Steve to save the day. We have Gal Gadot returning as Wonder Woman, and she's still warm, friendly, and fierce as she was in the first movie, while also seeing how much she's grown in maturity as she's come to understand the world around her. We also see how she's become a little more closed off and alone as the friends she's made have grown old and passed away, while she essentially hasn't aged. Also returning is Chris Pine as Steve Trevor. We see that there's a role reversal with him and Diana, as he was the one to teach her about the world during World War I in the first movie, whereas we see here that Diana's teaching him about 1984. He's a bit goofier this time around as he's trying to understand the world, but he's still able to back up Diana when she needs it. Now let's talk about the villains. I really like Kristen Wiig as Barbara Minerva. I know at the time when she was casted, people were skeptical because she's known for her comedy than her drama or action, but I thought she really fit the part well. I think she nailed the cliche nerdy girl who no one cares about, who only gains attention and becomes attractive after taking off her glasses. And what I really liked was her turn as a villain, because she was really convincing with her serious acting. And finally, we have Pedro Pascal as Maxwell Lord. He looked like he was having the most fun out of all of them as he's portraying this over-the-top businessman, and he managed to balance the fun with the seriousness as we see how the stone was really beginning to affect his health. And overall, I think I might have liked the villains more than the heroes. Alright, so let's talk about the story. The first movie was an action-driven war epic, while this one was more of an 80s fantasy comedy. I know we're supposed to judge movies by their own merit instead of what came before it, but these movies were just so different it's hard to believe that they were both directed by Patty Jenkins. My first issue was when it was taking place. I was hoping that after we learned about Wonder Woman's origin in World War I, that we would jump to something more modern like where Justice League is at right now. When you have a sequel that takes place before the modern time, then we know that there's no stakes. There's no danger. We know that Wonder Woman's going to be fine no matter what. But this also creates a plot hole. I think it was in Justice League that Diana said that
100 years ago, I walked away from mankind. From a century of horrors. Men made a world where standing together is impossible.
We do see her trying to still be secretly a superhero, but there's already a fair share of witnesses who have seen her. Sure, she tells the kids to not say anything, but I don't think the adults will. And honestly, how can they forget her and this whole world ending situation in 1984? I honestly didn't mind that it took place in the 80s, but with the way the story really goes, and if you take off a couple of elements with Steve Trevor, yeah, the 80s weren't needed. Sure, it was addressed, and the beginning scene with the mall robbery, that was a fun vibe, but I just feel like the market is now saturated since Hollywood has been reliving the 80s for the last couple of decades. I think it's time to move on. The second issue I had was the Wish plot itself. We've seen these kind of movies before, and each of them have the same lesson. Be careful what you wish for. So this was kind of a been there, done that kind of thing. Also, the movie was pretty clear about the rules of the wish. 1, you only get one wish. 2, you had to be holding the stone when you make the wish. And 3, you had to say your wish out loud. So, why does Diana's wish come true without her saying anything? Is it because she simply thought it? And then also, why does Maxwell allow Barbara to make another wish? Is it because he wasn't the stone yet when she made her first wish? I know these are minor details, but consistency is important. Also, I'm not sure if this was a specific storyline in the comics, but why not just bring Steve Trevor back in his own body? I mean, it seemed like whenever people were wishing for stuff, whatever happened seemed to just pop out of nowhere. So, why did Steve need another host body in order to come back? I thought it was a weird choice. I mean, was anyone concerned about this random guy who was maybe missing for a couple of days? Steve mentioned that he was an engineer. Those people are important. Also, are we sure that everyone wished for something selfish at the end? There could have been a couple good wishes, right? What if someone wished for world peace? Would it have been a bad idea to renounce that kind of wish? I know many people had issues about the plane that's at a museum that's conveniently filled with enough gas to cross the Atlantic. But the thing that I noticed immediately was how quickly Diana and Steve came back to Washington, D.C. from Egypt. After everything went down in Egypt, Barbara and Diana have a call with Diana saying, "I'll see you in the morning." It cuts directly to Diana and Steve meeting up with Barbara, and Barbara even mentioning how fast it was. So my issue was, how did they find enough fuel to go back? But you know what? Whatever. Of course, not everything was bad. I thought that the action scene in Egypt and the fight scene in the White House were pretty cool. I liked the score that they used when they were in Themyscira at the beginning of the movie, though I personally thought that the flashback scene was unnecessary and didn't really tie well with the rest of the movie. It was still a good scene, and the music reflected the lighter tone. I also like the flying scene where Wonder Woman takes to the sky for the first time because she finally gets to see and feel how Steve Trevor describes it. And I also like that they use the Sunshine score because it was a nice touch. And I think the last time I heard that music was from the X-Men Days of Future Past trailer. In the end, the movie was a bit disappointing because I love the first one so much, but it was fun for what it was trying to do, and I think I had a better time watching it in theater than watching it at home. Do I regret spending all that money in the theater? No, but I'll be sure to be maybe a bit more pickier for the next private screening. And if it's for the third movie, well, I just hope that this trilogy ends strong and that it takes place after Justice League. So, for all those reasons, I'm giving this movie a 6.5 out of 10. Alright, so there's my review of Wonder Woman 1984. What do you think? Do you agree or disagree? Let me know in the comment section down below. And go ahead and give this video a thumbs up or a thumbs down. I really don't care. But if you want to see more movie reviews from this guy, go ahead and click the subscribe button right up here. Or if you want to see my previous review, go ahead and click the video right up here. Other than that, I hope to see you all in the next one. Bye, and be safe out there.